Hello and welcome to the Foxcatcher Preview Show. My name's Julian Valens, joined up in Sydney by the one and only Nic Ashman. How are you going, my friend?
I'm okay. I'm staying dry up here. It's absolutely belting down as it has done for the last 24 hours. So we're on a heavy track at the moment at Rosehill, but there is some sunshine on Friday and again on Saturday. So Run to the Rose, really good race.
Yeah.
A couple of Group 1 winners, Nepotism and Devil Knight going around, and some fitter, lighter-weighted horses in the race. And then you've got Autumn Glow, the unbeaten mare from Wallace Stable, 5 from 5. Didn't she make it 6 from 6? And then she'll probably start odds on, I would have thought, in an Epsom handicap. And a bit of action down your way too, the Makybe Diva Stakes. It's been a busy week for the Wallace Stable.
Oh, yeah, it's the ins and outs. And I think our sort of banana split sort of, segment as we were trying to work out where these horses are going to go. I really enjoyed the last bit of it where you just declared Lazura is going to be running in the Rupert Clark, and then we get to the acceptances on Wednesday, and Lazura, she's going to go to the Let's Elope this week. So anyway, there's a bit to get through, but the joys of it all, trying to figure out where certain horses are going. Let's get to the track intel for Flemington, as you mentioned. True position the entire circuit. Now, we're on a good 4 right now. We get probably 4 to 5 mils today. We obviously film this Thursday morning. And then just maybe a sprinkling of rain, 1 mil sort of Friday, Saturday. But I still think we stay on the good 4. Maybe if we get to a soft 5, I think it's going to be on the better side of that. So I'm not concerned at all. I think every horse gets its chance in terms of that perspective. In terms of the intel and how I think this track will race, the straight, I'm just going middle to wine lanes an advantage, but I'm not, hard rusted on that, but that's how I think. And then the circle, pretty even, to be honest. Typical Flemington type of situation. Backmark is a low percentage play, but in terms of position in run, I think pretty even across the board for those circle, which is obviously the 1,400-metre races plus. Just on that, do you have any lane stuff from your gurus of where they think that might be the positive place to be?
Yeah, probably just avoid leaders, but lanes 2 to 8 in the home straight. So maybe leaders might just roll a fraction off the fence coming into the home straight. That's for 1,400-metre plus races, Julesy. So I'm looking for horses that can be forward of midfield, but not leading on Saturday.
Yeah, it feels like it's probably going to be a typical Flemington, to be honest, in the true.
Yeah.
So they all sort of get their chance. So that's the track intel this week for Flemington. All right, let's get to the feature race, and it's an absolute ripper in terms of some quality. I think it probably lacks maybe some runners. It's been disappointing, obviously, the movement of Treasure the Moment, but with Treasure the Moment going out, Via Sistina comes in. Let's get the points bet market up to begin with, and then I just might have you roll through some facts and figures about the Makybe Diva Stakes, Nico. But Via Sistina, top of the market, currently in the red with points bet. We'll just see what happens if she does get black figures. I think there's possibility at some stage throughout betting you will get black figures via Sistina. Aliana next in the market, and then you've got Mr. Brightside and Antino sort of holding that next line of betting, and then you push out double figures Tom Kitten, and then in the old saying, you can write your own ticket for Mark Twain. You got some info for me, mate, about this race overall?
Yeah. Look, a little bit of trivia for you. We could have a little trivia game maybe on this show at one point. But look, even though the race is named after Makybe Diva, the mare who won 3 Melbourne Cups, only 2 mares in the last 30 years have won this race, and the most recent of them was Southern Speed in 2012. Of course, she won the Caulfield Cup as a 4-year-old mare the year before that. So anyone thinking that they can't train on has got rocks in their head. Hey, Mr. Brightside
Shout out to that trainer. Shout out to that trainer.
Dude, play the banana splits music. Mr. Brightside, I just thought I'd throw that one in there.
Good,
for you.
I like it. Yeah.
Mr. Brightside is looking to become the first triple winner of the Makybe Diva Stakes after winning it in 2023 and 2024. And if he does win, Craig Williams will join Roy Higgins as the leading jockey to win the race. And then here's another one for you. In the last 28 years, only 6 winners of the Makybe Diva have gone on to win another race in that same prep. Mr. Brightside last year, Incentivised in 2021, and then you got to go all the way back to Northley in 2002, Sky Heights, Marble Halls and Weekend Hustlers. So it can be a race that traditionally has stopped a horse's preparation. That might be something just to factor in.
It's very interesting, that one. That actually does surprise me, to be honest, because usually it's a good launching pad for these horses, first group one sort of.
To be fair, Jules, it was the Group 2 Craigley Stakes up until, about 15 years ago. So maybe that 28-year history is a little sort of unkind, if you like, to the race.
Yeah, that's fair. Let's get to the map for this year, because small field, as we've spoken about, but this becomes an outrageously insane tactical battle, doesn't it? I think we probably agree that Mr. Brightside just has to lead from one. You're not going to give up your advantage because there is no real other speed in the race. And then I think we probably can have a bit of waxing lyrical that I think Via Sistina will probably be leaders back, but that could be a loose leaders back, if you know what I mean. Probably not right on the hindquarters of, say, Mr. Brightside. And then I think there's the option of either Tom Kitten or Antino to sit outside Mr. Brightside, I think. And depending on both these horses can be slow away. We know that. Tom Kitten's first up, so do they become a little bit negative neutral from the gate and want to take the backside of, say, Aliana? But it's really tactical, isn't it, mate? Like this is going to be a fascinating race because I think, to be overall, we know the horses are the ones that have to do the engine work, but the jockeys are going to be so important here. Yeah,
and I think betting flux just on Tom Kitten. I think he's in a slowly run race. He's got a sharp turn of foot. This horse, Via Sistina prefers a fast run race. I'm pretty sure Aliana will at a mile. She's probably the horse that gets the longest distance in this field, other than Mark Twain. So I think Tom Kitten has the turn of foot to offset the slowly run race, but it just depends on how much of a start he concedes him. Does he go back from a wide gate? Betting, I think, will be a guide as to where he's going to sit. He could also go and sit outside lead, so there's a bit to play out. But for mine, the stickiest map in the race is definitely Via Sistina. She's going to be third defence. She's either going to have Tom Kitten or Antino to her outside, and that's Ben Millam and Blake Shin, and those blokes don't give an inch.
Yeah, and even if it's not one of them, it's going to be Aliana and Damien Lane, who we know is a world-class jockey. So this is the thing where you get into the price sensitivity of Via Sistina, that you want to be taking red figures about theoretically the best horse in the race, which we know. She's got that big number at the Cox Plate, which she might not ever get to, but we know the market always anchors her to that, and that's why you see her the price she is, because she has done a number that no other horse in this race has done or got nowhere near ever been able to replicate. But you've got to factor in, okay, is she going to be able to get a gap? We talk about this a lot, that Flemington's a big track, but you see it time and time again that these horses on the inside just don't seem to get room and don't seem to get a run. We saw it in the actual – it's really interesting because a few of these horses were in this race. The All-Star Mile last year, the race that Tom Kitten won, or it might have been at the start of this year, Tom Kitten won. Another Will drew an inside gate and just never got a crack at them, was just sitting behind them, and there was just no space. And the horses swept around the outside and Tom Kitten wins the race. Is that a possibility to be replicated again with Via Sistina? The other point that I think is really interesting here, Nico, as we talk about it's a small field, it's tactical, there's no speed in the race. But Craig Williams on Mr. Brightside, I think would have in the back of his head that if I go too slow, I open the door for Blake and Antino to then whip around me and control this race, which we've seen him do many times before on this horse. So that has to be a factor in Craig's head that he goes, I don't want to go too slow. I don't want to go too slow, but I don't want to go too fast to absolutely burn my chances. So as much as it's a small field and we think there's no tempo, I think Craig will want to go at somewhat of a genuine tempo. Thoughts?
Yeah, well, and look, just touching on that, Tony Gollan's flying at present. He's beating market expectations by 42% from his last 100 runners. And his strike rate during that time is 40% higher than his lifetime as well. So his horses are thriving at present. Maybe a different story when they come to Melbourne. But, yeah, I tend to agree with you. I still think Tommy Kitten should be sitting outside the lead because he's going to go to a 2,000-metre race next start. So he needs a little bit of work into him. I don't think it's going to bust him to go and sit there. I think Blake sits one out, one back and just sits there and waits and sees what Tommy and Brightside do, and then he makes his move. I think no matter what, Blake, assuming that it is a slowly run race, Blake will get going at the 800 no matter what. Now, the good thing about that, if you're a Via Sistina fan, is the sooner he goes, the sooner the field breaks up. So I agree with you, but I think that's actually good news for Via Sistina if that's what happens.
I think that's a really good point.
Sorry, just to come –
Yeah. No,
just to come back to you, though.
Go, yeah.
But then if you're Blake Shin – do you want to do that? Do you want to give that
This was my point I was just about to
say.
This was my point. Does Blake go, yes, that's probably the best way for us to ride Antino, but usually when you're doing that, you're at peak fitness, so that's different. He's not at peak fitness right now. He's only second run prep, so maybe they don't need to push the button yet because they probably need another run under the belt. And he thinks, you know what, I just wait and I just keep her in a pocket. I just keep James McDonald in this pocket for as long as I can. And I know that if I go early, then hopefully Damien Lane just follows pushes up the slack and then actually keeps her in the pocket as well. You've got Shin and Lane, and as you mentioned, Malum as well. I'm not saying going to say they're going to ride together, But they have the opportunity to keep James McDonald in this zip fastener for as long as they can. And if they do, that's how she gets beat.
Correct. And her worst run of her career was in Australia was second up in this race last year. And
but I think when we spoke about this a little bit,
won.
we spoke about this a little bit last year as well, was that there was factors to that. She was coming off a really slowly run race. It was a heavy track, which I've got no issue with her at all. And, that's not a problem. It was more about she had the slowly run race and everyone else had that fast run Pride of Jenny sort of lead-in race. And that was the difference, I think. That's in my opinion, that they had the legwork.
The only thing I'll add to that, though, is in the autumn, even though she won the Very Elegant Stakes second up, it was tradesman-like by her, and she only just fell in to beat Fangirl, and I thought she had every opportunity then. So I agree with your theory 12 months ago in this race. Definitely you can give her a pass for that. But I thought in the autumn we got the little rubber stamp that maybe she does go a touch flat second up from a spell.
Yeah, that's fair. Do you want to do anything in the race?
I think just wait and if Valiana stays around the $4 mark, she doesn't have to trim up a hell of a lot. As long as she doesn't get out to 5 or 5.50, which she could do, as long as she doesn't, I think she's the bet in the race.
Yep. I sort of disagree. I sort of agree with you. I've marked her $3. I saw your prices go out on Instabang or one of those social media things, and I thought that was really good that you did that 100%. We're going to talk about Pin the Tail a little bit later with Via Sistina. So I was probably pretty similar to you, I think, in a lot of those pricings. Maybe shorter a little bit Antino, a bit bigger Tom Kitten, but I think everything else will probably just about bang on. So that was good by you. That's the Makybe Diva this week, punters. All right, let's get to my Victorian set, and there's a bit in it. So we're going to start with the race one. This is a littered day of just quality horses all throughout the meeting. So we're going to start with race one. Number 10, She's an Artist. She's first up here off 70 days, which I like. So I think there's, she's going to be here fit, ready to rock and roll. You just go off her. Look, the Bendigo Maiden went to Bendigo Maiden, but it was a monster big close. I loved that. And then came to Flemington, and just the number was, to be honest, it was a Group 1 number. And then the next start, she just got as a short price favourite, very short price favourite. So the market trusted that number at Flemington, which I still do. It was just a slowly run race. And Bridal Waltz just had the better sprint. And I don't think she is a horse that can reel off an 11 flat. But what she can do is, in a big field and it's a fast run race, she's going to be the strongest. She's that good of a horse. So I like the fact that it's a big field. I want to be with She's an Artist in the first. Race 2, I think Tycoon Star's the fittest horse in this race. He's going to be third up here. We know he goes through the straight. I know there's been good support for the other horse that's 2 for 2, Legacy Bound, but I want to be with Tycoon Star here. I think it's the one that just might be on, Johnny on the spot. So I want to back Tycoon Star. Race 5, I'm backing 2. I'm backing Transatlantic. Again, been off 90 days. Just love its form. I mean, it started $9 in a Stradbroke. I want to be with that kind of form line. Cafe Millennium's the other one. I'm just trusting that Adelaide form line that it can hold that and bring it here. It's the hard fit horse. That's positive. Race 9, this horse that was going to go to the Rupert Clark, my friend, Lazura. I just have to be with her. That number last
I did pile into her in the end.
That number first up, albeit on a heavy track, I thought was outstanding. But you go back to her 3-year-old career as well. She was running big numbers there. I love progressive 4-year-olds this time of the year. That's just been an effort to make money, these progressive 4-year-olds. Lazura fits that bill. Also in the same race, I'm just backing Splashback. I know she's been disappointing, but third up here, she's ready to peak. Map, a bit of a worry. They probably have to take their medicine. But if they can get back to that last prep figures, she's right there. And in the last race, number 15, Cadmus, backing this horse each way off 250 days last start. I thought it was pretty good first up behind Al Rocco. I reckon on the minimum here, it's ready to peak. Got to get back to that winter 2024 form. But if we do, I want to be with Cadmus each way. It is a big price. That's my set, punters. All right, talking about that, let's just get straight to Pin the Tail here, Nico. So we have got Via Sistina. Now, last week, so the overall score here is 4-2. You've got the break now in the first set. You have control your own destiny here with Barraquil.
Okay.
Market didn't want to be with him. It was just probably from a map perspective. They thought, as we spoke about, 1 or 2 horses are going to get the luck and 1 or 2 horses aren't going to get the luck. He did get the luck. He wins the race, but he did SP with PointsBet at $6. You said $4.80. I said $4.40. You get the spoils. This week, Via Sistina, what's her PointsBet SP, mate?
I've gone 225. I've been a little bit brave there going out because I think it's going to be a real battle. I'm really intrigued to see the ratings guys who are holding on to that Cox Plate number versus the map guys who know that she doesn't map particularly well. So we're going to see who's got the deeper pockets, I reckon. I just think they've got to play it a bit safe. She SP'd in the black in the Winx Stakes first up. No doubt that was probably the heavy track. She gets a dry track on Saturday, so that would probably be a big tick for keeping her SP a bit tighter. But then you've also got Aliana really stretching her out first out, and she's probably going to be even better suited out to the miles. So I think 225 is a fair price for her.
Yeah, I think it's a really good point you mentioned in terms of what the big dogs do here. And it also could be the type of tempo they think this race is. And you look at it and you go, well, maybe it's going to be a really moderate tempo. So you're thinking, okay, if it's moderate tempo, then we can't push her into that big number of the Cox Plate or anywhere near that. So that could be a factor as well. Anyway, I went $2.10. So we're sort of very similar, but it's going to be fascinating to see what happens. That was Pin the Tail via Sistina this week. All right, Nico, looks an outstanding day up at Rosehill, to be honest, in terms of horse flesh. So there's some really quality horses going around. Give me the track intel because we're out 6 metres the entire circuit. You've given me a bit of a piece of string in terms of the range. You think soft to heavy. Is there any which way you're sort of pushing to at this stage? The point being, you probably need to be a horse that can get through wet ground. If you're a pure dry tracker, you're probably in a bit of trouble. Yeah,
and Sydney's a bit funny. I live sort of right on the coast near the ocean, whereas Rosehill's inland, about 20 k's inland. So sometimes you can get a lot of rain right on the fringe of the coast and not quite as much at Rosehill. So we'll have to wait for that official track update to come through later on Thursday. But I think probably soft 7 is a good space for it to be. We've got probably 1.5 good drying days on Friday and the first half of Saturday to get it back up a bit. And the weather at the moment's been quite warm. So we really hit that springtime weather. In terms of a report for you, my man, I'll read it out to you now. Raining at acceptance time. Lane 1, a small penalty. Lane 2, better. At this point, we have lanes 3 to 9 as the area likely to provide the bulk of the winners. You won't want to circumnavigate the field with lanes 1 and 2 both fine around the bend. The best play is to cut the corner and then work out to the middle part of the track. So that's the track intel for Run to the Rose Day, my friend.
I love that. It's also using the word circumnavigate, which is important to put in. Okay, let's give me your set. Give me your set, mate, because you've got a few. You're a bit like me. We're dusting some bullets here.
I think this is the most I've ever done since joining the Foxcatcher team. But we're going to kick off in race 4 in Sydney. Now, this is a horse we black booked on Pandora's Fox a couple of weeks ago. It's called Sevens from the Annabelle and Rob Archibald yard. This galloper's only third up from a spell. He was very good first up, winning on a heavy track. I thought he was just as good second up on that soft 5 up in grade. He ran the best last 200 metres of the day off a slow tempo. So clearly there's a bit up his sleeve. I think third up, out to the 1,800 metres. He's just going to peak on Saturday afternoon. Just a little bit of sticky where he gets to in the map. But after Braithnock's claim, he's got 51 kilos. We love claiming below the minimum on these rain-affected tracks. We moved then on to race 5. This is another one that we found the black book a couple of weeks ago, number 9, Catch the Glory. I think this mare's a bit underrated. Certainly she was when they put the prices up. She was $8, now into $5. But the time she ran to win that benchmark 78 was basically the same as the San Domenico Stakes won by Raging Force. It was a faster tempo, to be fair, so she had more of an opportunity, but her last 200 metres was faster than Raging Force as well. So you've got to sort of factor that in too. She was outstanding. This mare, I don't know if she's ever going to have picket fences, Jules, because what she loves is a fast tempo and she loves to sort of hoon in behind them and ambush them late. She's not a horse that likes to circumnavigate. This is her style of track on Saturday. The question is whether she gets the breaks at the right time. You're going to have your heart in the mouth, but if she gets a clear crack at them inside the last 200 metres, I think they're going to find it really hard to hold her out. Her late splits, she ran the best last 400 metres of the day last time off a fast tempo. That is a sign of a horse going places. We move on then to race 5, 4, 5, 6. I'm keeping you busy, my old man.
Yeah, I know.
Race 6, he's a promising horse this thing, Autumn Boy. Waller, late 2-year-old season, pops up to Brisbane for the winter. They're the kinds of horses he's usually got a good opinion of. Won over 1,400 metres, produced the best last 400 metres and 200 metres of the day at Canterbury on debut over 1250, goes north of the border, wins a 1,400 metre listed race up in Queensland during the winter, straight out for a spell, won that easily, was tried up nicely. For mine, the Ming Dynasty, he's that Autumn Sun like his dad. That's what he sort of did. Autumn Sun climbed a bigger height in his 2-year-old preparation, but he's going to win the Ming Dynasty, I think, on Saturday, and I think he might be Golden Rose favourite by 5 o'clock on Saturday afternoon. because I'm not sure if the run to the Rose will rate through the roof as some people expect. Moving on then to race 7, another one that we spoke about. Autumn Glow broke the clock first up. She ran her last 200 metres, 11.52 on a heavy 10. Almost unheard of. She could be anything. We'll talk a bit about her a bit more. But the horse that ran second to her, Gangster Granny. Who doesn't have a Gangster Granny somewhere in their family? Terrible joke. She has not missed a place in 6 starts. 3 from 6 overall. The first up run was awesome. She's just got a little bit of something about her, this mare. And yeah, she's taking on Jolly Star, who's just got an Everest slot. But Jolly Star's got to give her 5 kilos, a little bit of race fitness, maybe a bit of stickiness in the track. I reckon Gangster Granny can knock Jolly Star off here, have something on her. And then we go forward to the race, where all the eyes will be on, for my opinion. Yes, there's a run to the Rose in the Ming Dynasty, but everyone's going to be watching the Autumn Sun at 4:40 on Saturday afternoon. She's unbeaten in 5 runs.
Autumn Glow.
Look, I know it's Autumn Glow, sorry, not Autumn Sun. I know she's short price, but I think she's a great anchor if you want to take it with footies and whatnot. She should just win on 54 kilos. She was awesome first up, provided she hasn't taken any ill harm. I think she wins the Theo Marks. I think she goes round odds on in the Epsom handicap, and I think she wins that, and who knows what happens after that.
Beautiful, love that. I needed 2 pens to fill out all that information, but it is good, solid info for the punters out there. That's Nic's New South Wales set.
G'day sports fans, Daisy Thomas here with a double declaration for you Saturday. We'll have a quick look back at the declaration from last week. Chow Wolf, very disappointing, smacked in the market, 2.15 into 2.10, into $1.95 at one point. Very, very plain as unbuttered toast. The big story was Sir Dalius into $9 now with points bet for the Melbourne Cup. So a bit of hype around that runner. Double declaration this Saturday. We're going first to the Archers Stakes, and we're going down the page a little bit to Post Impressionist. Now, 8th of 8 first up, whacked away down the middle of the track. Last prep was in for 1, ran an 8th. Seems to be a trend. Tipped back out. So there is some real scope to this guy. He's won out to 2,800 and just beyond 28. 16 metres is the winning range there. $10. J-Mac to Pilot. I think we can safely play there. And then we go to the Makybe Diva Stakes. We're forgetting the Sydney form. I know what you're saying. The Sydney form is the strongest, Daisy. What are you thinking? Going away from that, I'm going to treasure the moment form line, and I'm going to be backing Antino in an upset over Via Sistina, over Aliana. You're currently shopping at the $7 quote. Second up into this one, unbelievable stats. Second up, 6 goes, 4 wins, and a placing. If both of those get up, we will be saying, pay the people. So we've got Post Impressionist and Antino this weekend for Daisy's declarations.
Righto, thanks, Daisy. Yeah, that's outstanding. So you're giving us 2, so you're following the tradition of us of just, throwing everything out there at the wall and hopefully it hits. So let's get now to Larry's letterbox, because thick and fast coming in from everywhere, carrier pigeon and all. Nico, what do we got?
Yeah, keep them coming in as well, because we'll get back to you on socials if we don't on the show here, and we're more than happy. That's sort of how Foxcatcher works. We like to interact with our audience. Question coming through about nepotism. What will he do after Saturday? Obviously, he won a Group 1 Champagne Stakes as a 2-year-old. So you'd think the normal target would be to go from the Run to the Rose to the Golden Rose and then on to the Caulfield Guineas. There's some discussions that maybe he'll have a crack at a Cox Plate. So obviously 3-year-old, Team Hawkes very good with their 3-year-olds in the Cox Plate, all too hard, going right back to Octagonal in 1995 as well. They know which horses to take there. So if they line up with nepotism in a Cox Plate, don't be surprised if he runs a cheeky race. That said, I don't have a huge opinion of the 2-year-olds from last season. On that Cox Plate note, we also had a question about the Autumn Glow and what does she do after her obvious target, which is the Epsom handicap. Look, I'm not saying she is Winx, but she is running phenomenal figures. When Winx was a spring 4-year-old, Chris Waller resumed her off the back of a Brisbane preparation in the Theo Marks, then went Epsom, and then went the Cox Plate, where she got up on the inside of the cleaner and absolutely brained her opposition. Autumn Glow didn't have a Brisbane winter preparation, so he gave her the blowout over 1,100 metres first up just to get her back into some sort of fitness. Now she goes Theo Marks, then she goes Epsom handicap. Who knows? Maybe we'll see her down there rumbling in the jungle on that second last weekend in October in the Cox Plate. What a great scene that would be if she rocked up there. 7 from 7 off the back of an Epsom handicap win, Jules, with an SP in the Epsom about $170, $80. She could be just about anything.
Yeah, and she takes on Via Sistina. She takes on Antino. She takes on hopefully a fit treasure at the moment. So what would you do with Aliana then? Would you run in the Cox Plate?
Well, she's.
Don't worry, I've got the banana splits with the symbols, and they're driving the cars into each other.
She has to run in the Caulfield Cup if Fordham logos there, surely. Come on.
Make sure you do hit us up on the socials. Make sure you hit us up on the socials. Ask as many questions as you want because we will get back to it. Foxcatcher Intel, Instabang, and X, Twitter, whatever they all are, we will get back to you. Binoculars, what's a horse that we want to just be keeping an eye out for the futures possibly?
Look, I think that we've spoken about the 2-year-olds not being crash hot from last season. We've seen Raging Force already beat Woderton, who was one of the better 2-year-olds from last season. Now, some will say he had a little bit of a fitness edge coming off just 8 weeks rather than the traditional break that Woderton had. And others will also say that Woderton had no luck in that run, in that San Domenico Stakes. But I think the Binoculars have got to go untempted this week.
Yep.
Kieran Mars said that the Coolmore Stud Stakes is her goal. So let's see how she goes in the run to the Rose. She might be that 3-year-old that has developed more so than her other counterparts from last season. I can see the market being nice and firm on her at around the $5, maybe even the $4.50 mark. And if it is, back her late and then watch her go on towards bigger and better things this spring. So the Binoculars firmly on the Godolphin filly tempted. And we've spoken about Godolphin first up for new trainers. I don't think Kieran Maher would love anything more than to win the run to the Rose with tempted first up for the boys in blue.
15 from 40 going at 37.5%. The market expectation is 23%. So they're the actual factual numbers for that. So you are making money in that scenario. Quick one for me, Chief Little Rock. Lloyd Williams' horse, long break. It is still in the Melbourne Cup. It's a Group 3 winner in Ireland. See it at 1,700 metres at Flemington. Just see if it's a sneaky run, Chief Little Rock. Let's get to the plays of the day. I'll quickly start. It's the last race for me. It is number 15. It's Cadmus. I'm backing it each way. It's around $17, $18, $4.80, $5 the place at PointsBet. I reckon it's ready to rock and roll. Second up now on the minimum. Be with it. Cadmus.
Yeah, 15 in the last, something for the Dakota Fanning fans. Hey, I had, when I sent the tip in, it was Catch the Glory when she was around $7. She's into $4.80. Still have a peanut the win, and then just take her to run a place into Autumn Glow winning. That's also a good play there. It'll give you a bit of a boost, if you like, on that double.
Beautiful. Au revoir. See you Monday for a review of everything Rosehill.
See you, buddy.
What are you really gambling with? For free and confidential support, call the number on the screen or visit the website.